Alright, our first problem here says a flagpole is 30 feet high and a mailbox is 3.5 feet high. The mailbox casts a shadow that is 5.25 feet long. How long is the flagpole shadow at the same time? Okay, so we know the flagpole is 30 feet high. The mailbox is 3.5 feet. And then we know that the mailbox casts a shadow that's 5.25. Okay, so what we don't know is the flagpole shadow. Alright, so we're going to set it up. We know that the flag, so I always put height over shadow equals height over shadow. So 30 feet over, we don't know. And then we know 3.5 feet over 5.25. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and do our cross multiplication. So 3.5x equals 30 times the 5.25. Okay, let me get my calculator out and see what that comes to. So 30 times 5.25 equals 157.5 equals 3.5x. Okay. Time for class. Okay, 3.5. So let's go ahead and divide. And you get x equals 45 feet. Okay, and you guys will have to write the answer in a sentence. So you would say something to the fact of the shadow being 45 feet long of the flagpole. Alright, let's see if we can get rid of that. Come on. There we go. And can I get rid of that? There we go. Okay, next problem, number 4. The height of Medina Middle School is 25 feet tall, so 25 feet. Okay. A mail service drop box outside the school is 4 feet tall. So that's 4 feet tall. Okay, the drop box casts a shadow that is 6 feet long. And then we want to know what the length of the shadow of the school building is. So here's our shadow. We don't know, so we're going to put that as an X. Okay, so again, I always like to do height over shadow, height over shadow. So the height of Medina is 25 feet. Shadow we don't know. Height of our little mailbox is 4 feet. Shadow 6 feet. Okay, let's go ahead and I'm going to go ahead and erase some of this so we have some room. Okay, and now we can go ahead and do cross multiplication. So 6 times 25 equals 4 times x. I normally do it the other way. 25 times 6 is 150 equals 4x. Okay, now we want to get x by itself, so we undo it by dividing by 4. Okay, when I divide 150 divided by 4, I get x equals 37.5, and we're measuring in feet. So again, you would have to go ahead and you would restate that as the shadow for Medina Middle School is 37.5 feet. Alright, number 5. Okay, we have some similar figures here, and we need to find what x equals. Okay, so what we notice here is this base is similar to this base. This side is similar to this side. Okay, so let's set it up. So I'm going to go side is to base as side is to base. So side 40 is to 35 as x is to 105. Again, I did side is to base as side is to base. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and do our cross multiply and divide. So let's go ahead and set that up. X times 35, 35x equals 105 times 40. Okay, I have no idea what that is, although I bet I can figure it out. 105 times 40 is 4,200. That equals 35x. Okay, now to solve, we're going to divide both sides by 35. Cross that out. X equals 4,200 divided by 35 is 120. So that's going to be this. So x equals 125 yards. And again, you're going to put that in a sentence. So, all right, number 12. I'm going to redraw this as two separate triangles. Okay. What we know here is we know that the tall length is x. So let's write that in. What we know is the bottom is 120. So I'm going to write that in. I then know the height of the small one is 15. And I know that the base down here is 9. Okay, so I've got enough now. I can go ahead and compare my figures. So it says, write two different proportions that could be used to determine the height of the lighthouse. Okay, so it wants that. Okay, well, first what I'm going to do is height is to base as height is to base. So we'll write x is to 120 as 15 is to 9. So that's one of them. Second one, I'll go ahead and do height is to height as base is to base. Okay, so let's go height. So x is to height 15 as base 120 is to base 9. Okay, both of those are the same proportion. Once you solve it, you get the exact same answer. They both represent the same thing. Okay, the next part does say to go ahead and say how tall is the lighthouse. So that does mean we do have to go ahead and solve it. So let me go ahead and free up some space here. Let me get rid of that second one. Okay, let me see if I can't get rid of it. And it looks like that's as far as I'm going to take it. So 9 times x, and then 120 times 15. So 9x equals, let me get my calculator back out again, 120 times 15 equals 1,800. Okay, good, that's a nice easy number. Divide both by 9. X equals 200. And again, that's going to be in feet. So FT, you would write that as a sentence. The height of the lighthouse is 200 feet. All right, let's see if I can't get rid of this all now. There's part of it. Can I get rid of that? Yep. Can I get rid of more of it? Yep. Can I get rid of more? Voila. Okay. Number 14. A treehouse casts a shadow of 18 feet, while Janet casts a shadow of 9 feet. Okay, so let's draw a treehouse. Tree house. Okay. So it casts a shadow of 18 feet. Okay. Then we have Janet. I'm assuming that's the lady down here. Okay. So we'll give her some long hair so she looks like a girl. She casts a shadow of 9 feet. Okay. If Janet is 5 feet tall, she's not very tall, 5 feet tall, how tall is the treehouse? Okay, well now we have enough information. So we have height over shadow, height over shadow. So the height of the treehouse, we don't know. So x over the shadow, we do know. That's 18. Height of the person, 5. Height of the shadow is 9. Okay, so now go ahead and multiply. So we have 9x equals 18 times 5. So 9x equals 90. Go ahead and divide both sides, and x equals 10 feet. So a treehouse isn't all that tall, but that's probably good. You don't want to fall out of a tall treehouse. All right, 23. Triangle JMK. So looking at that, JMK is similar to triangle PRO. Okay. What is the value of x? Okay, so here's x. All right, so the one thing I do notice is that they flipped them. So let's see here. All right. So I know that this goes with this, and then I know that 6 goes with 9. So let's go ahead and compare those. So x, I'm going to do big, small, big, small. So x to 9 as 9 is to 6. Okay, now I go ahead and cross multiply. So 6x equals 81. Divide both sides by 6. And I don't know what that is either. Let's use my calculator. 81 divided by 6. 13.5 inches. And again, you'll have to write that answer out. Okay, I've gone ahead and circled the one you guys need to do. So here are the numbers up top here that we use. So x equals 2, y equals -3, and z equals 4. So the first one we have -3x to the third power. So -3x to the third. Okay, so we're using x on this one. So -3, and we're going to take out the x and we're going to put in x equals 2. Okay, to the third power. Okay, we always do exponents first, so 2 to the third, that means 2 times 2 times 2. 2 times 2 is 4, times 2 is 8. So we have -3 times 8. Negative times a positive. Negative times a positive is a negative, so we have negative 3 times 8 is 24. Okay, let's go to erase that. Okay, 33, square root of 81. Okay, that just means what times itself equals 81. So like the square root of 16, square root, so what times itself equals 16? Well, that's a positive 4. 4 times 4 equals 16. But I know that she also likes you to put the negatives, because -4 times -4 equals a positive 16. So for the sake of this, we know that the square root of 81 is 9, because 9 times 9 equals 81. And we also know that -9 times -9 equals 81. So we would know that it's positive 9, and then probably for extra points you would get -9. Both of those. Okay, let's go and erase that. The bigger eraser, that's the slowest eraser I've ever seen. Okay. Okay, there we go. Alright, last one. It's a little tricky. Okay, remember, it's what number times itself equals the inside number for square roots. So if it were square root of 100, well, we know that 10 times 10 equals 100, and we know that -10 times -10 equals 100. But is there ever anything that you can multiply times itself to get a negative? The only way you can get a negative is if you multiply negative times a positive, or the opposite. So those are not the same numbers. Remember, those are quite a bit different from each other. So this one, there is no number. And if you put that in your calculator, you put square root of -100, it will probably give you the error message. Okay, that's because it's impossible. So there is no answer for this one. No answer or no real numbers solutions. So don't write error though. You'll just write no answer for this problem. If you have any questions about any of this or you want me to go over it a little bit more thoroughly, feel free to stop by first thing in the morning or shoot me a question on Edmodo. Otherwise, I'll see you tomorrow. Have a good night.